Oh. Okay, hold on. You're starting this. Okay.
I have my favorite guest of all time. I also happen to be married to him, joining me today, and this is a topic that we are asked about more than anything else, is how do you, as partners, whether you're married or dating, how do you bring your partner along on the growth journey with you? And a lot of you have requested more of the Powerhouse Man himself, so we're starting a brand new series, and today is episode 1. So let's do this. So we are gonna have so much fun today. We set up this really exciting set in our living room. This makes our house feel a lot more cool than it really is on a daily basis. But I have had this request more than any other, that people want to hear more from my husband, Elliot.
That surprises me.
Why is that?
I don't know.
You know, it's funny as this journey has evolved that, you know, as we've been building, and truly it's as we've been building this brand of Powerhouse Women, people are really curious, like, what does the Powerhouse Man have to do with this? Like, does Elliot work with you? How do you guys support each other? We actually get more questions that, like, I didn't think we were that interesting, but apparently we are. And it was at our mastermind retreat, so it was like 2 weeks ago now, and this theme kept coming up about partnership, and even women who have really supportive partners just had questions like, what does that dynamic look like? Because, you know, when you're building a business, and whether your spouse is or not, when you're pursuing big ideas, it does kind of like bring this interesting dynamic into your partnership. And then fast forward, we were at our mastermind. You and I are in a mastermind together, and you like wrote some words down on a piece of paper and you slid this notebook over.
I did.
And do you want to tell me what it said? What your big idea was?
So I thought at first, I was like, hey, I'm going to write a book about being a powerhouse spouse and how to stay sane when you're married to such a dynamic, goal-driven, amazing human being. So that was what I slid across the table.
Yeah, so look for his book. This is recorded now, so you have to write this book. This is how it works.
Well, you're like, well, let's just do a podcast. I'm like, actually, that does sound pretty good.
Well, and it was on the heels of this conversation we had at the mastermind when we had our Powerhouse Women mastermind, people asking, really wanting to get your perspective, and we had you come in and you just gave such great insight into the partnership dynamics, because I know how it feels to be your partner. I know, like, from my perspective, the growth I've gone through, but to hear from not just the male's perspective, but I think whether your partner is male or female, like really what it feels like to support someone who's on that growth journey themselves. And so people asked for more, Elliot, and so we thought, well, this Powerhouse Spouse could be a cool segment on the podcast where, you know, we'll sprinkle in some episodes every now and then. Here and now. What am I trying to say? You get it.
Yeah.
Finish my sentence, please, if you would.
Okay.
And we'll answer some of the questions like straight from you. So I think we should give a disclaimer. We're not relationship experts, nor do we ever claim to be.
Or therapists.
Yeah. So
we have a lot of problems, just like everyone else.
We are human beings. We have had our own struggles. And this year we'll be married 10 years. But we've learned a lot along the way. And so we're happy to answer, you know, I guess, any questions. And also just give some perspective. Number one, to let you know that, like, you're so not alone if you feel like this growth journey between you and your partner is a little bit messy sometimes. Like, you are so not alone. Mm-hmm. But also to just give you some of the things that have, I guess, helped us stay sane, as you put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some things we struggled with, some things we've done really well. I mean, being in a partnership is not always easy, especially when you're very two different people, which we'll talk about a lot. We're wired completely different. So we've had to learn, grow, adapt, overcome, and ultimately it's brought us closer together. I mean, what we've seen over the last 10 years has been quite the shift and quite the wave. So just to kind of tackle it, our mindset around how we overcome tough things, how we have grown together during good times. But there's just a lot to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we have more episodes in us than we thought.
Yeah,
so
possibly.
Here's the first one. But, a lot of people ask me a little bit about like our dynamic. So does Elliot work with Powerhouse Women? Is he like full-time building the business with you? So why don't we clear that question up, and then we'll talk a little bit about just how different we really are and how we have used that as a strength. So Elliot, do you work for Powerhouse Women?
I do, but not full-time. I have my own full-time job. I'm in a sales position. I'm in the medical device industry, but I definitely feel like I've been part of the business from conception to where it is now. And I think you've done a really good job of including me, brainstorming with me, helping me just see the value that I bring. And that's exciting. I mean, I'm not wired like you. Like, I don't want to work all the time. She works all the time. But
I mean, not all the time.
I'm your fun coach. I have to pull you away because you love what you do, and that makes me happy. I love that you wake up and you're excited about what you do every day. There's nothing that brings me more joy to see that.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like I'm part of it, and you bring me in and you ask my opinion and you meet me where I am, which is like amazing.
Yeah. And that has been, I think, a growth journey on my part. I am very goal driven, and I know that is one of the things that you love about me, and I've had to learn to balance that with allowing support, first from you, and then obviously like as we've built a team.
Yeah.
But you are the one who doesn't get the same credit for building this vision, but you are every bit as big a part of it.
Let's just be honest. I started this whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm the
Let's
captain.
set the record straight.
I'm the captain.
You're the captain now?
I'm just kidding.
Well, there are a lot of like fun ways that you've gotten to play a part, including being the security guard at our first ever event.
That was my dream. That was a bucket list item.
Yeah. So I feel like that's actually a perfect way to highlight just truly the differences between us. So as we were planning for this first event, I mean, Powerhouse Women wasn't even a thing yet. I was just going to have this little event, and that there was never plans to do more. And I remember saying like, okay, I don't have a big budget, so I need all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And I need your help that day. And his, like, not even skipping a beat, his first words were, can I wear a security shirt? That's just like always been my dream. Can I be the security guard? And like in life and in marriage, you like choose your battles. And I was like, sure, if that's going to make you happy, go for it. Absolutely.
And it did. It really did.
And he wore his aviators the entire time. We'll go in the archives and find the photos. And it all was going well until people started coming up to me and saying, hey, do you know that security guard is drinking? Like, he's drinking on the job. So then I had to like make sure that people knew that you were my husband. Yeah. And you could actually keep us safe if it came down to it, but that you weren't actually like on the clock, that you could drink mimosas.
No, it was just for fun. So
what would you say, I would love to hear in your words, what are the biggest differences between like how we're wired?
I think it's like a sprinter versus a marathon runner. So
which one am I?
You're the marathon runner.
Oh, okay.
She just goes and she doesn't stop. And she gets fixated on a goal and she loves what she does. And you're so driven by making an impact that you literally wake up excited and you go to bed excited and you just go. Where I'm a spurt. So I'm like, I'm going to focus and do something with all that I know how to do for, 2-3 hours. And I'm like, good day. I need a break.
Yeah.
And so we've learned to balance that. And it's been a struggle. I mean, it's not always been like easy peasy with that. So I think you've been really accepting of like how I work and the ways that I work and bring me in and using my strengths. And I've had to come to the realization that you don't work like me and that, I have to like support you and your style of how you approach things. So that's been, I think that's a major difference of us.
Yeah. And that at first, at least for me, was a little bit of a point of tension. And I had to and this goes back to, I think the other thing that we've done well is our own inner work. Mm-hmm. Like when I am triggered by something, I don't look at it as like, oh, why is he making me feel this way? I've learned over a lot of trial and error to say like, oh, what is it about me that I'm like allowing this to trigger me? And I had a lot wrapped up in like, I wouldn't allow myself to feel like it was a success unless it felt like hard work. It was like that Midwest mentality, like good things only come if you work really hard.
Right.
And so I found myself like creating work for no reason. And that would be an interesting episode to talk, like dive into that a little bit more, because you've taught me so much about how you can focus in and work and then allow yourself to actually relax. Yeah. And he really is my fun coach. That's our joke, but it's also true.
I heard Elon Musk say if he had an important job, he would give it to a lazy person. And not to say that I'm lazy, but like I'm just saying that's what his philosophy was, because they'll find the easiest path and just do it.
Yeah.
Where some people try to overcomplicate it. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it just takes hard work, and like you're consistent, and it's what I love in you. It's what like. I love your tenacity and I love your consistency, and it's just different than how I am.
Well, and one of the things, I think this is kind of a great thing to kind of tie this all together, this first installment of Powerhouse Spouse. Yeah. You gave this great feedback to the women in our Powerhouse Women Mastermind, and you were talking about how, like, if you look at your partner, whether they're in the business with you or not, or building this big idea with you or not, but look at them as your co-CEO, because you're CEOs and building your life together, if nothing else. And one of the tricky things about me being kind of always like thinking about big ideas is sometimes I'll ambush you and I'll really want to talk about like my big idea right then and there. Yeah. Do you want to share what you told our group? Because this was such a great perspective and probably something I need to still work on.
Yeah. So I've seen footage of cats, and they'll like get up on top of a door frame and like, oh, happy owner, you're coming home from work, and the cat will really jump on your head just like and start attacking. That's what it felt like was happening sometimes. Early on, just because you were so excited, and it was like it was on your time. It was like, you want to talk about something, it's right then, it's right now. And I just had the suggestion, and I think we've come to a really good agreement around this, is like, hey, I want to talk about this, I'm really excited, like when's a good time for you, like when do you want to talk, like when is a good time to spitball? And so that makes a huge difference, because one, like even if I'm not doing something important, it's important to me. Like if it's not like, maybe it's playing video games, maybe it's going to go work out, or maybe it's just going to make lunch, So it just, it really like, it shows me that you value my time. And I thought like, that was really cool.
Yeah, and when you gave that analogy to our group about, like, think about if this was a CEO and you were working in an office together, you wouldn't just walk up to them and like demand their time right then and there. Right. You would set a meeting and like make sure that both people were ready and open to have that conversation. And when you said that, I was like, oh, damn, yeah, I was the cat that would sometimes, there was a stretch where I was getting up a lot earlier, and I remember by the time that like he would get up in the morning, which wasn't late by any means, but I had already had caffeine, worked on like, the draft of my new book or like whatever the heck I was like super excited about. And I would just want to launch into like telling you all my exciting plans. And you would so lovingly just tell me like, this is great, and I'm going to need an hour. Like,
I'm going to need a sec.
Yeah. And that's been hard for me to learn, because I think especially like you said, the thing that you're doing at the moment, I might like be able to look and say like, oh, he's just watching a movie, that's not important. But that's really like, that's his downtime. And he does work hard. He is so diligent with he's like the work smarter, not harder type. And that's like something I've really, really learned from you. And so to realize that then when you're enjoying that time that you've created for yourself, that's just as much a part of your day, and like you recharging so that you can give your all in the time, like the pockets when you're working. So I joke about starting the Call of Duty Wives Club. Just, some support for other ladies who are married to people who play Call of Duty. I joke about that, but I've started to, I've really come to realize how much that is just as important to you and part of your schedule as it is when you're working, and to actually treat them the same.
And just to clarify, I don't play Call of Duty all day. My brother plays Call of Duty, and I use it as like a FaceTime call. So we connect, we talk about life, and we play Call of Duty. So that is...
It's not playing it all day. It's just the little nuances when I've had to learn to get used to just random yelling in the background, like, behind you. And like, I learned that I'm not actually under attack.
Yeah.
So once I got that, I was fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Send it to the
Okay,
gulag.
well, we are excited, question mark, to continue just, I guess, bringing you different perspectives or at least entertaining you.
Yeah,
on
that was
these
more of an
episodes.
intro. We'll dive into specific topics, I think, right?
But we'd love to hear your questions because we don't think we're as interesting maybe as other people do. And
I think you're very
oh,
interesting.
thanks.
Yeah.
Well, really though, we just want to add value. Like, all jokes aside, we're happy to like just share and share a perspective, because I think it's so easy to look at social media and think, you know, people are one way. I don't post about our arguments on social media because that's not the place for it, but we really are just like anyone else. And I think it'll be cool to get to share more of like that behind the scenes picture in these episodes.
I'm up for it.
All right, Powerhouse Spouse out. What's it going to be our sign off? I have to come up with that.
May the force be with you.
All right, there you
Something
have
like
it.
that. That's right. We'll think about it. We'll get something going.